Welcome back, everyone, to the Rune Terra Team Tournament brought to you by Aegis Esports. Once again, I'm your host, Absolution, with the wonderful, talented, and overwhelming Domcasts.
Overwhelming, yeah, for sure. My favorite keyword in the game, definitely super straightforward, at least how to win. But yeah, we're back. A little bit of a technical difficulty in the beginning there, but we are here. We've made it out. We've found a way to bring the content back. But yeah, I think we're just gonna get right into it. I think we're just waiting for the match to catch up to us. They've been waiting for us patiently, which has been a great help to us. So we really appreciate that. Thank you, both players. So we're gonna get into it. We covered a little bit of the decks. We'll go back over them eventually, but we want to be ready to start this game as soon as possible, just because of the delay that's already been happening. But yeah, for today we have the first match, which will be loser versus MTuck.
Yes,
Confirmed.
yes. I'm here looking to get the list of their lineups and such pulled up on my screen here. So
I can run through them right now for you.
Oh, perfect.
So MTux is bringing Caitlyn Ezreal, Zillion, Azir, Zerath, and then Ziggs Talia as his third deck, and then Loser Beam's bringing that Caitlyn Ezreal that we covered earlier, but that's really just a burn deck. Scouts, and then the Akshan Sivir. So he's bringing the new, relatively new deck in the Caitlyn Ezreal with the burn. He's bringing the Scouts, which has been super popular this patch, and then he's got the tried and true with the Akshan Sivir. Whereas MTuck is bringing the Caitlyn Ezreal as well, but then he's also running the Azir Zerath and the Ziggs Talia, so potentially looking to take advantage of that buff that Azir and Zerath got for their Ascension. And then Ziggs Talia, also just super popular right now, also kind of functions as a bit of a burn deck, but also a huge buff once Talia comes out on the board.
Yeah, these lineups are running pretty similar archetypes of deck. We're looking at a lot of the more mid-rangey, aggressive styles of play here, especially with cards with things like Talia Ziggs, which is incredibly strong. I just got word from the studio here. It looks like Bitter has 2-0'd Cameron Hanzo.
Wow.
So that is a dominant performance for Terra Tennis Academy. That puts a lot of pressure on MTux too, right? Because I mean, he definitely has to try to make sure he's pulling his own weight here. He's got to make sure they got to get that win for their team. But yeah,
I mean, I was gonna say Cameron Hanzo is playing from his school library. Not sure how that weighs on him, but I mean 2-0 already. 2-0 in less than 20 minutes is a pretty good time. That's definitely up there.
I mean, I'm looking at the lineups here. Looks like Cameron Hanzo is running a bit of a slower lineup and encountered what looks to be a significantly faster lineup. So those matchups very much opening hand kind of defines the state of the game. Very easy to kind of just washed out if you don't have a really strong opener with your control decks.
Oh yeah, and I mean, if I didn't look at the bans for that matchup, but I feel like if you're Bitter, you take away the darkness. The darkness is the only thing that can potentially have tempo against you. I mean, feel a long game. Lee Sin takes forever to set up, same as Victor. And Azir Zerath, while you might think Buried Sundisk, it's got 25 turns, you can turn that turn 6.
Yeah, it's got 6 turns and then it's flipping.
If you have a good draw, that's turn 6. You're going Ascended, and then after that, it's downhill.
It sounds like we're jumping into some games here. All right. So in case you guys didn't hear that, it's going to be Azir Zerath on MTux and Akshan Sivir with Loser Beam. This is a really interesting matchup because Akshan Sivir, while a more aggressive deck, Demacia has a surprisingly good arsenal of these combat-based control tools. Don't know how much that's going to help though with this board state into a leveled Zerath, and that level Zerath is going to flip the Sundisk.
That's Ascension.
Yeah,
we are already pretty deep into this game, turn 8, but wow.
Yeah. Does anyone want to go make a sandwich or something? We got some time before this finishes wrapping up.
Shurima movie in the chat, guys. Shurima movie.
The Shuriman cut, everyone.
Yeah, no. Well, while we see all this great animation that the Riot
Absolutely
team
gorgeous.
has done. We do have the chance to talk a bit about, well, what was supposed to or could have happened in this matchup, which is, like you mentioned, the
Yep.
Demacia
Yep.
control tools are used to keep units off the board. But the Azir Zerath, you can just play that deck so slow, so safe.
Yeah.
You can have Azir Zerath in hand until the turn they level up and still
Pretty
be
much.
succeeding because of stuff like the Soothsayer, like the Desert Naturalist, the Devout, all that fun stuff can just go on
Yeah.
the board, and you're chump blocking or trying to clear with the potential vulnerables through the Waking Sands, and there's no way for you to really deal with the champions or the level the win condition and that they
Mm-hmm.
level up because they're leveling up on drop. They're not
Yep.
risking having them on the board until it's that time. So definitely a good win for MTux to get that out of the way early. Now
Yeah,
he
for
has
sure.
two opportunities to take down Loser Beam with both of these decks that he has left. And
Oh, is this
looking
a
at
mirror?
Mulligan,
It looks like
I
it's going to be
think
a
this is a
tri-beam
mirror.
mirror.
Yeah, this is definitely the mirror. Now, curious that Loser Beams has tossed back his Farron. I definitely can see the reasoning why, the potential reasoning, which is that if it comes down to needing the the decimates and
Mm-hmm.
the Farron overwhelm, like it's already too close of a game. So definitely looking to try and win without that.
Yeah,
Because both decks are accomplishing the same thing.
there's a golden rule I tend to follow when it comes to like my mulligans, especially in these matchups where it's like, what's the speed of my opponent's deck, and how likely
Mhm,
am I to play this 8 drop, right? And if it's not likely, then
mhm,
essentially you can think of yourself as playing with one less card in your hand than your opponent because you're never going to get to use it. It's a dead draw.
mhm.
So oftentimes when you're looking at that situation, right, this deck can go pretty fast if you have the right opener of units, and I
Oh,
think he's looking for the
Reckoning.
very reckoning is so good here. If he
Reckoning.
manages to get that 5+, oh, actually, wait, no, that might not be that good because of it does backfire a little bit unless we have a good late game Theron situation. But Reckoning is a really strong
Ah,
card into this deck if you're not also playing the same deck. And what a great culling
ah,
strike onto the Caitlyn. Just denies
yeah.
that value from the flash bombs. They're so good, especially with the buff to putting them in the top 8 cards.
Yeah. I mean, the Reckoning could have so much value in this like mirror matchup. The only problem is that none of the cards that in like you mentioned, none of the cards that they have has more than 5 health except for the Farron. And we mentioned earlier the Farron, if it gets to that point, the game's probably just over
Mm-hmm.
anyways. But I definitely think that the Reckoning has potential. The only problem is that there's no method to get like a Caitlyn up to 5 damage or
Yep.
the Arachnoid up to 5 damage, which I mean it's a lot to set up a Reckoning like this, but into a deck where it's all weak units, there's so much value to be had out in having that Reckoning. But the True Shot also just as much clear without having
Yeah.
the need to actually set up a 5 power unit.
Yeah, for sure. And also, real quick, Frozen Monks actually just drew his Tri-Beam in this matchup. That's like probably one of the better cards for the deck because it can give you a big unit that your opponent has to deal with. And I can see it was that like 4 3-cost cards in that hand already. So that Tri-Beam puts Frozen Monks in a really strong position to sort of
Hmm.
start commanding the game.
Yeah, and we mentioned that Loser Beam tossed their Farron back. MTux has kept theirs, so definitely like gonna be interesting to see how this plays out if it gets to that point because we are already at turn 8. It seems that we've passed through a, a lot of the game
Oh wow,
already,
hold on.
and now yeah, and now we're seeing the Caitlyn drop and the Station Archivist as well. The Thermo Beam in hand as well as the Peacemaker and the Mystic Shot is going to be very very big for clearing this Caitlyn. The only thing is that there's more Caitlyns in hand for Loser Beam.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
this
this
is
will be able to burn a lot of spell damage for MTux.
yeah, it's a board state that I would definitely say favors MTux slightly because of the Tri-Beam, but otherwise it does feel fairly neutral. They both have kind of the same tools in hand, so they're both playing kind of the same game plan, which is kind of what happens when you play these sort of mirror matches.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's definitely interesting to see because it's a mirror matchup, but it doesn't mean it's the same thing. Like they're both having to
exactly.
now adapt the deck to play against each other because you can't just do what you were planning to do. You have to also manage what's going to be happening to you because you know exactly what's going to be happening to you. It's the same thing
Exactly.
that you can do.
Yeah, it also
But
could have just been, oh, there's the Farron. Now in a situation where Loser Beam is like, oh, I can use
mhm.
this. Much better. Oh, is that a whispered word splash? I actually don't think I've seen that in these lists before from MTux with the splash. I mean, card draw is good. You can never go wrong with card draw.
Mhm. Yeah, the whispered words is curious, especially because there's no way to proc that reputation. Like it's going to be
Yeah,
four
it's
cost always.
outside
But
of getting a solid 5 stat unit from Tri-Beam, there's really
hmm
no way to get it.
hmm yeah, and I guess four mana for 2 draw is definitely still good. Having that draw available. But curious that Loser Beam has dropped the Farron here on attack. I like the Arachnoid Sentry blocking the potential for that damage to come through, but we also will probably see Mtux drop his as well next turn, which in that case I would have liked to see the Arachnoid Sentry held so that you could drop Farron and then potentially attack with him while you're stunning the other Farron, but having that 8 damage come through is not something you want to happen in this deck just because of the amount of spell damage that there is possible to have down onto the Nexus afterwards.
Yeah, for sure. I wonder if MTux is potentially stunning it to set up for an opening Tri-Beam onto the Farron to get a big unit to command. Because we saw them play
Yeah.
a good amount of 3 drops last turn. And instead, even just
Mhm.
going for more of them. So very, very likely that they just were looking to get a nice target for that Tri-Beam to be effective against.
Yeah, and Mtux could just as easily drop the Ezreal now as well, and then lead that into the Tribeam, and that should be probably a 6 cost card that it summons, which is just insane value, as well as clearing the only Captain Farron that's on the board. But looking at these
Oh,
spells, the Transmodulator, that could be huge to turn the Financier into the enemy's
yep.
or into your own Farron and get even more decimates.
Yeah,
That
the transmog I believe it's modulator, whatever it's called, the Heimerdinger card is really really good when you don't have to main deck it. I believe I talked about this with Monty a couple weeks ago, during the last event, but like when you don't have to just put that card in your deck, it's so strong.
Yeah, it's that's actually just an insane pull to have, and that's part of the point of having the Pharaoh's Financier. You have these strong cards in Piltover, but you don't really want to spend the very valuable deck slots on them when you could just also have a unit and then potentially create that card later.
Exactly, and
Um,
just like creating cards, it appears that a card gamer has 2-0'd Ikado.
wow, already,
Yeah,
wow,
we just got word from the studio. My God,
oh
dominant
my,
gameplay. I mean,
that
that's huge already.
yeah, this game is going to be super important for Mtux to, actually win. He does have the 1-0, but both of his teammates have gone down already in relatively quick fashion.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree, and I really like the game MTux is playing here, where Loser Beam is definitely trying to play the aggressive. He's taking the role of the aggro deck, right? And MTux is saying, okay, I respect that, and I'm gonna play the control deck until I know I can win. Like we haven't seen Loser Beam
Mhm.
cast a single decimate because MTux just isn't letting him develop that board. So with no board, you can't chip your opponent's health down to the point where you want to drop that 5 mana as on a slow
Mhm.
spell.
Yeah, and both of them still have 20 health. There's
Yeah.
there's really nothing to gain from decimating right now because you're not winning the game with it. You're just getting them down to 15, which is a quarter of the way to winning. So
hmm
definitely saving those for a time where there is no potential answer or follow up, but also where it gets you like either within get excited or within Mystic Shot range is definitely more important than just having the damage onto the Nexus.
Yeah, for sure. Especially when you're playing these decks that are basically control burn, where you want to
Mhm.
make sure that you are dominating the you want to dominate the pre-declare attackers phase of the game very like pretty much
Mhm.
the whole time. And there's the Farron from MTux, and that's big. Oh,
Yeah,
there's the with the True Shot barrage that does set up a double flock onto the Farron, which I think might level the Ezreal.
I I think you just go scorched earth here. I was gonna
Oh
mention
yeah,
this
Scorched
has to be
Earth.
the true shot into the scorched earth,
I
and
do
yeah,
see that.
he targeted Farron with just the 1 damage from the true shot, so he's definitely going for a scorched earth play
Yep.
here. And yeah, that'll clear that. No risks here. And
what?
that.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Go ahead.
sorry.
I was gonna
I was gonna
say,
say that's both Barons off the board.
yeah, definitely. I was gonna say I was surprised by the lack of the stealing the Farron with the Hex Tech, but understandable. It was 6 mana, which I don't think
Mm,
that he had to spend on that if he wanted to kill it. So
yeah. No, he had 6 mana, but that would not block the 8 damage coming
yeah,
through.
that's deal. Does he deal 8?
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, okay. That's
Yep.
good. That's good for loser beam that it only
Yeah.
summoned a spectral matron. That could have been way worse with an 8
Yeah, it
cost
could have.
card. We could have been seeing like a boat
Yeah, that could have been Dreadway.
or yeah, something. That could have been any number of things that you don't want to have come out on the board, especially for a burn deck.
Also,
But
just no one's playing down their Ezreals, which I think
mhm,
is just very interesting because like we're casting a lot of spells, and even if you know, even if
mhm,
it gets removed right now, they're both kind of vying for the
mhm.
advantageous position of the game, right? And I think just
Yes.
even playing the Ezreal, maybe drawing out a calling strike or just getting that type of information, especially if we're looking at like
Mhm.
MTux, where Loser Beam has less unknown cards in hand than MTux does. That's information, and that's like advantage. But it's very interesting to not see that Ezreal come down.
Yeah, and loser beam finally going for the first attack of the game. Um, and I was gonna mention he's in a better position, and we saw MTux go for a potential block with the Spectral Matron, but they held it back. They were worried about a flock coming out or
Mhm.
another Scorched Earth, and having the 6/6 card is definitely more valuable than not having it, especially when Loser Beams finally found the board advantage. He does have more units. Granted, none of them can actually block this Spectral Matron, but he can just keep attacking with them,
Yeah, or
and
you
that's
can turn one into
Mhm.
a Spectral Matron if it comes down to it.
Exactly. Now, one thing to note is that there is another Farron in both decks somewhere.
Hmm.
There is 2 Farrons in both deck lists, so we have seen one go down from each. So we should be able to see another one come out, and that will mean there is enough decimates to be generated to get the kill.
Yeah, that is game
Um,
winning. And there's the first Ezreal.
yeah.
Comes down leveled up and definitely going to command an answer, but I'm not sure.
Mhm.
Oh, the Mystic Shot probably into the Scorched Earth will take care of it, but it doesn't matter because we have second Ezreal in hand, don't we? I thought we. Oh no, that's gonna be the Mystic Shot into that to get
Yeah.
leveled up. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty standard for a I mean, I guess the drop, it's about time for that. So we're gonna see
Yep.
both Ezreals come out. Now, Mtux saw that the Mystic Shot came out, so he's assuming that there is not another way for Loser Beam to clear this, except for the Tri-Beam that is in Loser Beam's hand.
Yep,
And
which is very
I
good.
I didn't get to see the damage that it's going to do, so I don't know how much or what unit it will summon, but he will be able to clear the Spectral Matron and get 2 more damage down onto the Nexus. But this could be important what unit the Tri-Beam summons.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be looking at the hand states. There's not a lot of units that are available, and it
What?
was only a 2. It was only 2 damage,
What?
which sets up the flock. So I do get that, because we do have the other flock in hand. Get rid of the Ezreal, do our thing, but like man, that
Wow. I
it's
didn't
such
realize
a
that he
weird
only
game state.
summoned 2, or just the Ezreal. The Ezreal is the only 3-cost card.
Wow, what a way better tri beam pull off of a 2 drop.
Yeah. hmm But yeah, we're gonna see something potential here. I would like to see, a Farron come out for someone because the Farron is really
Yeah.
the only way that this game ends soon.
Yes.
It, unless, well, no, because MTX just has another Sentry, so he can just mirror with the stun and then also get the Archivist out. This is gonna be interesting.
I
The second Farron will definitely be probably the immediate win condition for both these players.
I like the idea here, and it's a little bit crazy of doing the swing and then trying to use the hex tech to get some value, right, that extra damage on to set up for that double decimate to kill. Because again, these decks don't have healing, right?
hmm
But that'll definitely mess up that plan. Uh, because they
Yeah.
don't have healing, that in this situation, any bit of chip damage you can push through onto the Nexus is gonna get you that just one step closer to the win.
hmm
And there's the
Yeah.
hex deck. Good decision. I like that.
Now, so he's so Ludobeam's just trying to make sure that the board is staying cleared, and he's using the transmogrifier to that end. So the thermo is actually a really, really good pull for Loser Beam, just because he has
Definitely
no
a good pull.
board presence.
There's the other Farron.
Oh no.
Ooh. Okay, we've tapped
No.
under Farron mana though because of Archivist.
Yeah, that's good, but he needs to, or Loser Beam needs to not use the thermo yet. Loser Beam needs to hold it for the Farron.
Of course,
that he knows that they know is there. It's gotta be.
You know, we do have caster vision, so we are just like, oh, we know everything.
No.
It definitely that definitely hurts a little bit.
But yeah, you have to do it. You have to do it just because, you know, there's gonna be 6 damage now. That means that both decimates in Mtux's hand will guarantee the win next round.
Yep.
And there's
so
no
this
answer
is going to
for
be a that
yeah,
could
discard the Farron. It's good, but it's not enough.
No, definitely not.
Okay. Oh, there's a potential. No, there's no potential here. The stack's too expensive. Man,
Yep.
Loser Beam doesn't have enough mana. That's just too bad.
That is
down to it.
That is too bad. That really did come down to like top deck to win the game situation, and you got to respect both players really for playing that game so patiently. I mean, even if it's not the most entertaining spectator sport, it just displays like this crazy level play where nothing was really happening that was like super wild until like turn 13.
Yeah, and you know, usually you expect like, oh, Piltover and Noxus, that's going to be like a really fast deck. Oh, burn, it's going to make sure that there's no units and the game's going to be over. But the mirror matchup makes it so that no one can really do anything in that matchup because they're both having to watch out for like, oh, the decimate's in hand. I know there's decimate. Oh, I know there's Farron. Oh, I know there's Tribeam. I know that I have to watch out for these cards constantly. So they're both players just have to sit there and be like, okay, well, all right, I know you played this many of this card and this many of this card. This is the time for me to do this. And then eventually, you know, it really came down to the final draw from both players to see like who could get another unit on the board, who could get that extra spell to clear the other team's board. And you know, Mtux did a really good job at just like staying calm, not overplaying his hand, and waiting for the perfect time to do that because it got dicey. You know, there was another decimate in hand. It very easily could have been a decimate into Mystic Shot.
Exactly.
If there was a top deck out of that. So definitely a really good play to just stay cool, stay calm, and Mtux gets the win, redeeming his teammates.
Yes, absolutely. Especially that, you know, that win definitely is gonna hit different. When you go back to the Discord group chat and you're the only one that gets to walk away with the 2-0.
Oh, for sure. So yeah, that was a really, really good matchup that we were able to see. You know, we missed it just barely at the end. We were able to catch the Shurima movie just at the start, and then you know the next game we were able to get a lot of action at least.
Yeah.
With the Kaylin Israel mirror matchup, but like we mentioned, both other games are already over. One of them was over in like 15 minutes. That's an
like
insane time for a
20.
2-0. Yeah, sub 20. Like. So we won't be able to cover another game from this series because this series is over. We are waiting to hear back from production if we're going to cover something else, but we might just go to a break to take care of the technical problems that we were having earlier and make sure that they are not here for the rest of the stream.
Yes. Yep. Looks like we're gonna be cutting to a break. So guys, don't go anywhere. Okay. Just like last time, if you do, I will find you and drag you back. Don't tempt me.
I'll just be disappointed.
Bye.
Good evening and welcome. Good evening and welcome back, gamers, to the Aegis Esports Runeterra Team Tournament.
Thank you so much for that intro, Absolution. We're here with some more Runeterra action, like you mentioned, and we have some interesting things to go over. We are featuring on stream Spider Mansion versus whoever they are going to end up playing. We don't know yet, but we can start. Oh, just got confirmation it is Max got the tracks. But before we talk about that, we should go over the decks for this matchup. We started it early, but we might have not gotten the point across due to technical problems. Looking at the first deck, I'm not doing this anymore. It's gonna be some interesting, some good old Victor Udyr Vi. And
Yes,
we talked about this a bit before the break, but
we
it's an
did. We
interesting
did.
deck.
Yeah, there's some things I wanted to actually highlight here. Once again, this deck breakdown brought to you guys by Runeterra AR, greatest place on the internet to go ahead and build decks with the Runeterra AR interface. The best place to do so. So this deck is really just all about created cards, as we know Victor's all about. But some of the cards that really stood out to me as I thought more about it were things like Ambush, which is a pretty common Victor staple, letting you just push that sneaky little bit of lethal in there. The Shaman's Call and the Udyr able to generate stance swaps. Those stances, I completely forgot, they also give really good stat buffs. So on top of giving your units like regen and overwhelm, things that can help them swing a lot more consistently and safer, you're also giving Victor and Vi, who have fairly low health stat lines, that nice little bump up, which makes them like far more threatening.
Yeah, like you mentioned it, and you can see it exemplified here in the deck list itself. There's only one Udyr. Udyr's job is to get dropped, get maybe 2 hits, 2 strikes in, and then, disappear from the rest of the game. And that's even if you pull him. You don't need to pull Udyr to get the value out of Freljord. You have the Vulpine Wanderer, a 2-cost card that generates a stance swap. You have Shaman's Call, 6-cost spell, but it generates 2 free stance swaps. So that's all the value there. And then, like you mentioned, Ambush, Elusive, 3 Sisters, the potential to have that obliterate or entomb, and then the frostbite, and then all the other stuff just makes for an insanely strong deck, just because of the augment synergy as well as Freljord's ability to keep cards alive.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was looking at a Spider Mansion's stats, look at their stats over on Runeterra AR, and they're boasting like a 63% win rate across about 11 matches with this deck, and with some pretty strong wins over like Tri-Beam, Monostream, and Talia Ziggs, which are 3 very common decks that we're seeing in this tournament.
Yeah, and it all comes down to the value, I think, of the stance swaps. Like you mentioned, it gives you overwhelm, it gives you regeneration. Those are 2 insanely powerful keywords, but they also give you two worth of the relevant stat line. The regeneration also gives you 2 health. The overwhelm also gives you 2 power. And it also, for Victor specifically, it eliminates that keyword from the list that it can gain from the Hex Core
Yes,
upgrade.
which makes Hex
You
Core
know,
upgrade so good.
yeah. And then you mentioned the Ambush. Ambush is such an insanely powerful card to, with a 2 power and elusive for 2. is
Mm-hmm.
just so crazy. Like, you can win games exclusively off of that. You know, you get Victor up to like 6 power, you put a stance swap on Udyr, you put 2 ambushes down, that's game. That's like 12
Yep.
damage at least. And then
Yep.
also the other part of this deck that has a huge amount of value is there's no follower worth more than 2 mana. You're playing
Yeah.
multiple followers every round, or you're playing multiple spells every round.
Yeah, it's a very this deck seems to embody what I like to consider like the Magic the Gathering philosophy, which is the more stuff I can play, the more mana I can spend, the more likely I am to win. Which in some for some Runeterra decks, it's the opposite, right? You want to spend a lot of mana, you want to spend less mana than your opponent. But this deck is one that's looking to spend as much mana as possible, make really good use of the resources in the game,
Mm.
and play sort of a very tempo focused game plan.
Yeah, you know, Runeterra is definitely a game that can you know, reward both playstyles. It can reward you being super proactive, spending all your mana, but then it could also reward you being really conservative. You know, when the game first came out, excuse me, when the game first came out, it was always if you're running Ionia, you're saving 4 mana every round until you pass over
Yep.
to the next one. You have to have that mana for deny just because of how powerful it was. And if you were playing against something like Ionia, you're watching their mana count, and as soon as it drops below 4, you're going all out. And
Yep.
that's just like the great duality of Runeterra is that you can play both of those, and both of them are as viable as the other. And this one seems like it's going to want to use all the mana every round, which also comes down to having cheap cards to
Exactly.
spend it on.
And Max Got the Tracks is bringing I know some pretty strong lists to this tournament here. Uh Specifically, I believe what was the what which one are we going over for Max here? Ah, there it is. It's Bandle Tree list. Take it away.
Sorry, yeah, the Bandle Tree. You know, I hate Bandle Tree. Sorry, yeah.
I think most people do.
No, but the Bandle Tree is, you know, one of those cards like Star Spring. Eventually, you just win the game with it. You know, it does have to wait a good bit of time. 5 is usually when you drop it, or no, you don't usually drop it on 5. You drop it when it's very very close to ending. But you can hit that number really quick. You can summon all 10 regions without even needing the Bandle Tree, thanks to the crazy amount of cards that exist in Bandle City. You know,
Yep.
Teemo, you're hitting PNZ. Gnar, you're hitting Freljord. Poppy, you're hitting Demacia. Bomber Twins, Shurima. Grandfather Fae
Ionia.
is Ionia. House Spider is hitting Noxus and Shadow Isles. And then Aloof Travelers and Loping Telescope. Well, Loping Telescope hits Targon. And then Grumble Slug is Piltover. Or, excuse me,
Bilgewater.
Bilgewater. Thank you.
Yep.
That's, I think, 9 out of the 10. I don't know if I'm missing one, but yeah, that's you need to drop Bandle Tree and then the next turn end the game. Worst case or best case, worst case you play Bandle Tree and it's giving you those cards anyways. And then also for the cherry on top, you have Yordles and Arms. If you have a wide board and you're not being punished for summoning all these weak units, you play Yordles and Arms and you just go for a huge swing and potentially end the game or potentially set up the game to be your win in 2 turns when you attack again.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the power of the deck comes from just the fact that it is basically 2 different decks in one 40 card package, because we have a really strong aggro swarm list. And if that doesn't work out, then we have a really strong alternate win condition Exodia style like combo deck that you can just fall back on. And decks that have access to multiple game plans efficiently usually end up being like high tier 2 to tier 1 style decks.
Yeah, and you know, with the Yordle and Arms, it almost switches the game plan on the Bandle Tree deck. You know, the Bandle Tree is now the secondary win condition.
Yeah.
You're going to go for a wide board, pop the or the Yordle and Arms, and if that doesn't work, you're dropping the Bandle Tree and winning anyways. And you know, it does rub people the wrong way a lot of times. I definitely don't like those kinds of cards like the Bandle Tree and the Star Spring where you potentially could just not interact with the enemy and end the game in a few turns. But Yordles and Arms is one of those other cards that people have been very, very skeptical of because of the BTFO potential. You know, it's almost the same as getting a Feel the Rush or one of those other super powerful cards that just turns the game on its head, especially at five mana. That's an easy card to drop.
Yeah, I honestly feel like looking at the lineups, this deck most likely will draw the ban of the ones because if
Mm-hmm.
we're looking at Spider Mansion's decks. They're running Caitlyn Ezreal, Fizz Lulu, and Victor Udyr, and those decks seem to be pretty well poised into Max got the tracks with the Ziggs Talia and the Zir Zareth. Seems
Mm-hmm.
like those are going to be way more manageable than this Bandle Tree is going to be
Yeah,
because they don't have a way to really slow down those game plans.
yeah. It's crazy because you need something that has a huge amount of board clear to handle the amount of units, and if you don't have that, you have to deal with the Yordle and Arms and the Bandle Tree still. And it definitely banning this deck provides a great deal of like mental relief potentially, as in like, okay, cool, I don't need to worry about like them just getting a Bandle Tree win or them just like playing Yordles and Arms and winning the game no matter how well I had set up or how well I had worked towards the my win condition. You're definitely on with the this is probably going to be the ban that that Max got the tracks draws.
Yeah, for sure. And even then, like decks like this, if you're building a lineup,
Hmm.
if you just say you have two really strong decks that you want to play, if you throw in a third deck that is just better than those two, chances are your other two will very rarely get banned.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah,
so
and or you could do the classic in throw something that's like totally wild in there
yeah,
that no one's ever seen before, and they're like, well, oh, I can't like deal with this on the fly. I don't want to risk it, and they'll
like
ban
Victor
that.
Udyr Vi.
Yeah, because even if it's like totally awful, like in Rise of the Underworlds, I was running a dragon deck, and people were banning it because they just didn't want to have to deal with dragons or learn how to handle it because no one was running dragons.
Yeah, hey, listen, sometimes you gotta run. Listen, I ban the six champ
The
every time I
mental
see it. Okay,
warfare.
if I see someone mono Demacia six champions, I'm banning that deck because that person's either the
They're
worst player in the world
unhinged.
or they're insanely good at the game. Like
Either way, they're unhinged.
exactly, and I don't want to have to. I don't want to have to try to make those reads. I can't predict what
Exactly.
they're gonna do.
Exactly. It's 50% mental, this game. It's understanding what's supposed to happen and then, acting on that. Who cares if you know what's in the deck? That only adds to the stress because you know what
Ah,
could be coming.
let's. I don't want to. I don't want to debate this live on stream.
No, I'm just joking. We're joking. We're joking. But
Okay,
we are waiting to
don't
get
get me
into.
spatted.
Oh, we're going into the ban
Going right
phase.
into
I
the
was gonna
ban
say
phase here.
we're getting ready to go into the match, but we are into the ban phase already. We see Spider-Man. We see Max got the tracks. Max got the tracks. He's running some pretty busted stuff. Spider
Yeah,
Mansion
they
running
are.
some spice.
Yeah,
Running
they're
some
running
spice.
the like anti-meta, unique, spicy type of lineups.
Hmm.
I mean, it's hard to look at these and not find yourself being like rooting for Spider Mansion to get that. Oh, perfect! Thank God. I want to see the victory deer vibe get played really badly. So, but Max on the Tracks bans out the Fizz Lulu deck, which I believe also is Yordles and Arms. Um, I will double check to confirm.
It's most likely Yordle and Arm. It's
Yeah,
it's it's right up that alley of a bunch
yeah.
of weak Yordle Bandle units
Yep,
and
yours and arms with treasure
eventually
trash and broken nonsense. But yeah,
all
that's what
fun
I was
stuff.
kind of talking about before. Like, you bring two decks that are pretty good, and then you bring one that's broken. The broken deck's probably going to draw that ban, which lets you play those other decks that you have a lot of time on.
Hmm.
Actually, I think if I look at Spider Mansion's match history, like I did before, I don't know how much time they have on Yordles and Arms. Which, by the way, if you guys are ever playing tournaments, Runeterra AR, again, you can just pull up players like match histories and see what they have. Yeah, I don't see, in the top three decks, I don't see that Yordles and Arms list at all. I see a Fizz, Teemo, Poppy, Bandle tree, but that seems definitely like it might have been a bait list to draw aggro away from the weirder decks like Vi, Victor, Udyr.
Yeah, definitely a possibility there. But yeah, we're waiting to see the ban coming through for Max, what deck he won't be allowed to play. And you mentioned that all of these decks play fairly well into.
Aaliyah, Ziggs.
Well, I guess we have our answer. I was honestly expecting the Bandle tree,
I
just
was as well.
because like having to deal with Yordle and Arms and the Bandle tree is definitely not enjoyable. But maybe Spider Mansion's going for like the I don't want to play against Talia Ziggs. I'll take the L versus the Bandle tree and then try and go for the double win
Hmm.
versus versus Zerathazir. I mean, definitely a
Yeah,
potential strategy.
that is
Um,
a very viable strategy a lot of times
mhm,
too. You can sometimes you just want to try to int into that deck, let
mhm,
them, because you have a great matchup into the other one, let them
mhm.
get their one win and then just roll over them.
Yeah, and maybe that's what Max or Spider Mansion's going for. Um, Definitely going to be interesting to see the Caitlyn Ezreal. We've already watched the mirror matchup, which is probably the most interesting game we'll see all season.
Definitely one of
Um,
those interesting mental games for sure.
I think potentially Spider Mansion could get the win against the Bandletree with the burn. I don't know how well the Udyr Vi Victor will handle, just because of it does need a little bit of time to set up.
Yeah.
Once it's set up, it is insanely strong.
Yeah, oh, and I looks like I'm getting reports in here. Seems like Sleepy Panda takes game 1 over Me Manic. So
Me
that is
man,
an Me Man. Is that the
me,
name? I'm bad at
me
names.
man. Yeah,
So
probably.
they'll
I
be
mean,
going on to
probably
game
pretty
2.
good.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I think that's probably pretty good. That's a fast game one. I mean, we are only 15 minutes past 9 o'clock. They were told they could start as soon as they were ready, but that is a pretty good timing. I'm wondering what they're playing. I wonder what the first win was. I'm looking at the list for Sleepy Panda and Me Man, and it looks pretty standard. We have Zillion Echo, which we haven't seen. Honestly, I think ever. I don't think we've ever seen Zillion Echo. That was a pretty popular deck
The
in the
deck's
Rise of the Underworld, but
the deck's overrated.
it is. I mean, not good.
Listen, I'm
It's
glad that we
very,
both agree.
very.
I think the only reason it's good right now is because no one's playing interaction or expend
Mhm.
like big HP win cons. Because anytime I play that deck on ladder, the second someone plays a card with a HP stat line that's 5 or higher, I would lose.
Yep,
So
that's how it be.
it also
I mean,
relies on your opponent not interacting with your board. So,
mhm,
so we're
definitely.
jumping
As we
into the
get
match.
into first match, yeah, look at these mulligans. That's so we're starting off with the Azir Zerath from
Wow,
Max and the Victor Udyr Vi from Spider Mansion,
these
and
are
these.
really good hands.
Well, Spider Mansion's hand I think is insanely good. I think
Yeah,
you
for
just keep
sure.
every single card there. If your Max got the tracks, I think you recycle the Azir and the Zerath. Honestly, like you don't
Really,
need them yet. Well, you don't need them. You're not
that's
dropping
true.
them until you can level, until you can
That's
flip
true.
the Sun Disc. So the best case scenario is you find like a Rock Rider or yeah, and there we go. He recycled both of those. So the Allegiance, that's just a really good card to have because it is a unit you can play that also will draw that champion for you.
And the Drawn to Treasure Seeker is really strong too. I mean, Waking Sands is an incredibly good defensive card to have in your hand. It just can deny your opponent like a lot of big developments. It makes them kind of have to almost. It gives their developments somewhat of like a summoning sickness, right? Because if they try to develop a big card, you just go, okay, Waking Sands, and then they can't use it. So I think it's a just a really strong spell to just hold or to push damage. Either or. But here we see this game off to the races. We're already on to round 3. Both players going just kind of full speed ahead. Lightning fast passing here. Both of them are playing, I don't want to say call them solitaire decks, but very much like I'm going to not interact with your stuff unless I absolutely have to style
Yeah,
decks. So this is that sort of fast gameplay you'd expect to see.
they both know what needs to happen, and they both know that what they want to happen will not happen by until turn 6, really at the earliest. And Max, while he was able to find the Golden Ambassador, he hasn't really been able to find any landmarks. He's still looking for,
No.
the double rock path summon. He's still looking for the desert naturalist or the soothsayer to potentially protect
Hmm.
this sun disk, but I don't think I saw any clear in Spider Mansion's decks. So they're really just cycling through looking for cards. As we do have a score update real quick. Unhelpful Yoda has 1-0'd Zach.
Yes. So it looks like
And
is that another win for Puffcat Peddlers?
uh uh
Yep, Puffcat
yeah.
Peddlers currently both 1-0 into their matches,
Oh, no.
but
It's 1-1 right now. Zach is on the
1-1.
good gamers.
Oh, okay, cool.
But yeah, oh, it's 2-0 for podcast apparently. But
They
looking
almost
back to the
finished the
game that
game.
we're
It's
seeing
weird.
right now, I do like this swing from Max. You know, he has the 2 Devouts. He wants them to be cleared so he can get those landmarks up.
Mm-hmm.
And then Spider Mansion, the only thing they want to do is just survive until they can make Victor an unstoppable monster.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And
And that elusive pull as the first keyword Victor can get is so good, especially because Monoshima can't really deal with elusive. I mean, the best way Monoshima has of dealing with that 4 HP Victor is to use something like Rite of the Arcane. And without
yeah,
landmarks out, there's no real way to do that. So we just have this elusive scout Victor swinging in every turn. That's Max
yeah.
emoting. That's what I would do in this situation because
Well, no.
wow.
Now Spider Mansion has the attack token. They can go for a stance swap. Oh, stance swap. You should have stance swapped. You could have stance swapped
Absolutely stands
into
up.
regen because now you have Rite of the Arcane coming out. That's the move for Max, is to clear this Victor right now.
Max with
Who
the
cares if you-
pass.
Why? You destroy a mana gem and kill the Victor. This is too much damage to let through.
This is
Oh, the
absolutely oh,
quicksand.
the quicksand,
Okay.
that's so strong. That
All
also
right.
sets up a
That's
really nice
fine.
block. That does get Max what he wants. So
All right.
I'm all about that.
I was worried. I was worried for a second.
I was worried too. I was like,
Forgot
what's
about the
going on?
quicksand. Forgot about the quicksand.
And then there's the troll chant, which is actually I do forget would have saved the Victor from the Rite of the Arcane.
Mm-hmm.
However, yeah.
The Victor is still alive. The Victor is still good.
Yes.
Even
Yes.
if Rite of the Arcane comes out.
But now Max
was
is getting
close.
those landmarks, and
That
that
was-
was close.
that
That
was
was
close.
a really scary situation to be in.
Oh,
Man.
but they still have the attack token. Spider-Man just
Yep.
still has the attack
From
token.
that scout swing, and I think Spider-Man's sitting here thinking like, is there value in swinging here, right? Like, do we really want to swing again? And if we do, are we just taking the 1 damage that we get for free, or are we throwing the Victor in there as well?
No,
I-
you cannot risk the Victor. The Victor has so many good keywords right now. You have to use the stance swap to give it the plus 0.2 regen. I think that's the play because that
I
puts
do agree.
Victor extremely out of range of anything Max can do.
Pretty much makes
Max
it
has no.
uninteractable.
Yeah, exactly. Max used the quicksand. There's nothing to do. If Max had used the Rite of the Arcane, destroyed one of his mana gems, Max could have cleared the Victor potentially.
Oh, okay, 3 sisters into
Oh my
Fury of the
gosh.
North. That is an interesting into the ambush.
No,
For gonna go for the 11 damage.
that's bad.
That is very bad because that's
a get excited mystic shot.
yeah, that's just lethal range there. The Monoshima doesn't heal. Max needs to pretty much go off like yesterday.
Wow.
It can go for the Rite of the Arcane.
Yeah, and they're gonna go after the Victor, but there's still another troll chant.
It's okay. They do
Wow.
have second Rite of the Arcane.
Yeah. They still do have second Rite of the Arcane. I'm just worried. Like, you can't really do anything with Victor anymore. Unless
No,
you give
you
it
can't.
regen. Unless you give it regen, there's nothing you can really do with it.
And even then, I don't know if there's. Oh,
Well, here's the
the level
regen.
up.
This has to be the regen. There's no reason to give it Overwhelm. It already has elusive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very. That's the correct call right there. I mean, that's just pretty much going to set up the situation that we're talking about before, where now Victor is just untouchable. There's no vulnerable proc. I mean, the opening hand with the lack of any sort of vulnerable, the Roiling Sands. No Roiling Sands really hurt Max in this matchup.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's why that Max tossed the Zerath and Azir in his mulligan, because he's looking for the Roiling Sands. Roiling Sands is such an insanely good card for this deck because you don't really need to attack. You just need to make sure that the other player doesn't get anything good on their board, and that's where the vulnerable comes in. But this Victor is
insane.
That Victor's in a good place. That is a great Victor to have right now.
If this Victor rolls Spell Shield, I think that's just an easy FF, because the only thing that's really going to stop it is the Quicksand, and even that's not going to do that. I mean, that lets you trade it with the 5/3, so that's not bad. But ultimately, it's going to be a rough situation.
Yeah, if this is Spell Shield, I think this is just it.
And it's Fury. Okay, so that's not going to be the. Oh, actually, no, you can't trade with the 5/3 because it has regen. That's just. I think that might just be it, unless Max drops the Ray of the Arcane. I know they have to do it the next turn.
Another Golden Ambassador. Wow. That's curious.
Yeah,
How
that's.
close is Max to leveling his Zerath is the question.
I
'Cause-
believe that they've popped 2 landmarks so far that I've seen, which will mean that the Preservarium is going to give them 1, which will, or to put it at 3, and then you need that other.
Honestly, the angle is to use the hourglass. Use the hourglass on something. That
Yeah,
gets the level up this turn, and then you drop Azir and Ascend.
yeah, that's honestly does sound like the best
That
option
could have been
there.
a play. That could have been an angle, but ooh,
Ooh, go straight for the
I s-
Hexcore upgrade.
I don't see
Probably
how this.
fishing
You
for
have
Spell
to.
Shield.
I feel like you should have quicksanded there.
And they got it.
Yeah, you should have quicksanded. You should have
Yeah.
quicksanded. The quicksand would have denied everything. Even if it got spell shield now, you would have denied all the other. What?
Oh, I don't know
So
if.
Max is looking to break the spell shield with the right of the arcane. This
Yep.
could have been avoided if you quicksanded before.
Yep. Does that level the Zerath? No, it doesn't even level the Zerath. Oh, that is a feels bad man moment.
You
Now, the
still
good
don't
news is
kill it.
we still have yet to see the lethal situation come out from the hand of Spider Mansion, right? We have yet to see that Mystic shot. So Max is still hanging on, fighting for his life at this point. I do think that you gotta go for that flip, because Emperor's deck has so many powerful cards in it that would just sort
Hmm.
of command this take control of this game. And there's the Vi 7-5 into the Ancient Prep. Another quicksand. That's not
But it doesn't
bad. This
matter.
is an
They're not gonna
attack.
draw it.
Oh,
They won't be able to draw it.
you're
The
right.
this the
So the Zerath isn't going to die. The Zerath's going to get Hourglass if it gets pulled by the Vi, and then the
well,
Victor can't swing again because it gets stuffed.
this second attack could have been avoided if they quicksanded before
Yes,
the Hex Core.
for
And now
sure.
they have to deal with the Vi.
Definitely was a. Oh, that's a very.
That's too soon.
That's
That's
way too soon.
that you need to block something.
Yeah, I
Now you
think
just lose.
I think we're in panic mode on this side of the board here. Uh, Max is just trying to figure out, like, what do I do? Just gonna throw the Victor away, but I mean, it makes sense, right? We're already into like a burn to win the game situation, and Max has
Yeah.
to choose: do I kill? Well, actually, here the Ballistic Bot dies at round start
Does it?
because the Zerath will pop out and
And
it
deal one
dies.
damage.
Wait, oh no, it should deal 3 now because it
No,
leveled
it
up.
did the damage when because the tomb or the statue dying released the victor, and that was the
Oh,
one that
okay,
leveled it up. So it still did one
gotcha.
before
Yep,
the level up. But now
that
there's
that's
ascension. But this is still just gonna only kill the ballistic bot. The Vi will
yeah.
still be alive.
This
Even
is
if the
lethal. They lethal in hand already for damage. Unless Max draws that right in negation, this is a lethal
no
game
there's no
situation.
oh wait. Crumbling sands? No, that still doesn't help. That still doesn't
Nope.
help. This
Nope. This
is
is this is game.
unfortunate. Yeah.
That is very unfortunate. That was just a really strong race there. We can all just take a minute to watch this movie and really
We
think
should talk.
about
We
the
should talk about what happened.
yeah.
Quicksand before the Hex Core, you block the Scout attack, and you still have 5 health.
Yes. And then you're still safe and good to go. And also you run you run a really good chance of Victor just
Because,
re-rolling a bad keyword. Or like
yeah,
re-rolling a second keyword, which then sets the Victor behind.
but even if
Um,
even if the Victor still gets black or Spell Shield, it's still no longer elusive, no longer Scout, no longer Quick Attack. You can still block the Spell Shielded unit,
yep.
and it doesn't proc the Scout for Spider Mansion to then immediately. Oh whoa!
Getting over the boom baboon into the
No,
discard here.
how I missed? How did they clear the Vi?
Right of the Arcane with the Zerath together. It was the only unit on board, so it just doubled up. But
Wow, wait, this
it
is the
doesn't
turn.
matter.
Or yeah, it doesn't.
It doesn't matter, unfortunately. That's just gonna be, oh, sad day. Sad days. As long as Spider Mansion doesn't like forget to play the card. Which I don't think they will. All right, good work from Spider Mansion.
Well,
Just good,
Spider-Man
good
could have been
gameplay.
in a bad place if they
Yeah,
didn't draw the Boom Baboon. Well, they still would have drawn a card to discard with the,
yeah.
but
It's just the fear of, okay, 4 mana. Do they have Red Deer the Arcane? Right? Does Max have Red Deer
Powering
Arcane in
off.
hand? If Red Deer Arcane is in hand, then I lose. So I think the Boom Boom is
Powering
good
on.
because it
Mic
gives you that
off.
extra blocker in that situation, so
Battery
you can just
low.
block twice. But yeah, that was just a really fast and aggressive game from both
Charging
players.
battery.
yeah, it definitely was interesting how, both players raced through to round 6, and then the game immediately came to a halt
Yeah.
as they were finally like, okay, Max has got his units out. He's looking for the landmarks still, and then
Mhm.
Spider Mansion is, just they're playing everything. They got all the cards they want now. They're just trying to set up this huge victor, and they accomplished that.
Yeah.
And Max definitely had some problems. There was definitely some options for Max to have avoided, the get excited lethal. But we are going to move on into the Caitlyn Ezreal burn versus Zerath Azir again. And yeah, Max is just gonna run it back until he can get the win with this deck.
Pretty much.
Because
I mean,
you
it's
gotta
such a
get it one
strong
day.
deck.
You gotta get it eventually.
And I mean,
Gotta
the opener
unravel.
here already seems significantly better. We're going to be able to get the Unraveled Earth. We have the Endless Avowal and the Soothsayer in hand, which is really nice to have, especially in this matchup where we want that spell shield to help protect against Tri-Beams, Thermos, or Tri-Beams, Flocks, and all sorts of other crazy cards.
Exactly. Yeah.
It is just...
Tuesday round
so,
2. No reason to risk it because of the Scorched Earth in hand
yeah,
from Spider Mansion.
yeah, for sure. This
Actually
is...
insanely lucky that he had attack token in
yeah,
round 2.
yeah,
That
that's
could have been game. That could have been
the
game right there.
the deciding factor in this matchup for anyone who has never played it at home is literally who has attack token on 2. And if you draw, and if the Noxus deck draws the Scorched Earth and has attack token on 2, then they just pretty much auto win this matchup. And the Mono Streamer deck loses because they lose all value. Now, this is an interesting block. Not giving up the 3/3 to the Caitlyn.
Mm-hmm. That is curious. I feel like you would want that landmark ticking down as soon as possible, unless they already have the Right of the Arcane. There's no reason to really not have that card get cleared.
The only thing, excuse me, the only thing I think of is potentially trying to just have more targets up for flash bombs, or to go for, like, say, this double 3/3 swing,
Yeah,
in a
that
later position of the game.
yeah, and they are getting value out of it, as we do have an update for you. It is Sleepy Panda and Me Man are 1-1 in their series currently, so still up in the air there as we move on in this match point for Spider Mansion. Max got the track,
Yeah.
still in a good position having that spell shield though.
Oh,
They
and the
will.
second Soothsayer, that's
Ooh.
so good.
I was literally about to say they have to watch out for double Scorched Earth, because if they don't have another Soothsayer, they're in trouble.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
that was
I lied.
fast. That was a 10,
Yeah.
11-minute match, but okay, Panda
Maybe they
2-1 into
turned.
Me Man.
Maybe they turned to head token and Scorched Earth.
Yeah, probably. All right, we're going into this next part. Yet to see
3 is
the...
ears.
That's wild. I mean, there's just not enough units coming down from Spider Mansion to where, if I'm in Max issues, where I'm thinking, like, man, do I want to take up board space with these two landmarks? If you obliterate them, they don't count as getting destroyed. So if you have to play on top of them, so the only way to get rid of them is to have your opponent play units. And this deck, the Caitlyn Ezreal deck that Spider Mansion's playing, she doesn't have to play units at all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then Max got the tracks looking for, a Right of the Arcane onto this Caitlyn. I'm curious to see what Spider Mansion does in response. Do they thermo the Azir? I feel like you don't. I feel like there's no problem with the Azir being alive, especially if you can. Oh, that's too
Yeah,
bad.
just scorch her. I mean, it makes sense, right? When are we getting through that spell shield reliably?
But now they don't have to. Max doesn't have to worry about the excuse me, the Sun Disk disappearing, because there's only two Scorched Earths in Spider Mansion's deck. So
Yup, that's very true.
so
So
the Sun Disk is safe permanently.
Yeah, Sundoes is
But
going to come down, and but unfortunately, the real way that Spider Mansion can deny that Sundisk level up is to just not play units and play this very defensive game that we're seeing here. I really like the Caitlyn swing. I believe there's a second Caitlyn in hand, so she's blocking with that Caitlyn to get those flash bombs in the deck. Those flash bombs just help enable so many really strong cards in situations that where maybe we they have to take out a Zerath or an Azir. They don't have a big enough card doer. They have like a the Scorched Earth, or I don't know if they still run Guillotine or not.
hmm
I don't believe so, but those are just really important
another
tools to have.
unraveled Earth. Now,
Oof. We have
now
another
I
score update.
yeah, Zach and Yoda are 1-1 in their series, so this could be an important match for both teams.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll
Um,
check back in 10 minutes, see if they have the results.
2 minutes if it's a Shirima
Yeah,
Noctis matchup,
it's
but
true. It's true.
I'm curious. I'm curious why Max keeps playing Azirus. Now I know he's pulled all three, but the goal is to make sure that the Azir is on the board when you level up or when you finish the Sundisk, because
Uh,
that's how you get the Azir deck.
the way
That's
that I
the
see it
important
is
part.
Max is just I think Max has accepted that I'm probably not going to see enough units at this point in the game with what I
hmm
have, right? There's a, there's different ways that you can kind of look at a deck like these combo decks where you can say, okay, I know what my combo is. I can win if I draw the combo. And there's then some matchups where you have to just go, I have to win with what I have in my hand. I can't rely on drawing things. I just have to be able to try to inch out this win with what I have access to. And so
Oh,
we're
that
seeing a lot of these. Ooh,
that's bad. That's no right
that's
of
very
negation.
bad.
I was about to say like, oh, the aloof travelers, and there's only 3 mana cards in Max's hand. That's
Yeah, that's not good. Oh, but
finishing a
there
time,
is
but
the
no, it doesn't matter.
Xerath.
It's done. It's
That is
over.
so good. Yeah, that's
It's over.
that's GG. That's 100% GG.
That's game.
There is no way out of this. Empress
That's
deck comes down.
that's
Uh,
the absolution guarantee to
exactly.
Zerath. It's over. There's no way for
It's
Spider Mansion to
done,
get
dude. It's
back in this
done
game.
so.
It's it's GG. But no, like realistically, like there is a possibility that Spider Mansion comes back around. They
Oh yeah,
have
for sure.
the Farron, and they have the ability to play it next round.
You know, even though
Where did
Emperor's
the
deck is really
Zerath
good,
played? I was like, where's the Zerath?
Emperor's deck can draw bad cards. That's interesting. We're
That's
popping
desperation.
the spell shield. Yeah, that's just like, hey, I need a good card. I know, like, that's. I
Looking
feel
for a
like,
tune, I
yeah,
guess.
pretty much
To
accepting
get
that,
the
like,
thermo back
I'm
to
dead.
2? But
like
no, this is
this is just not a good situation to be in. This is gonna pop. We're gonna get Emperor's deck, which has some of the most broken cards you'll ever see printed in your life.
Shurima
Uh,
movie.
yep.
Shurima movie.
Get to watch the movie again.
Yeah, this is a good. I mean, they did a good job at the animation
They
series.
really did.
Definitely.
Uh,
I mean,
the,
they have to. It's the only three level up cards in the game.
Yeah,
Or
very true. I will say though, like I wish there were more decks that were running mono shrine. I know that they're not the best, but I just like the level 3 Renekton and Nasus a lot because they're just so dumb for no reason. Like their
hmm
base forms are
hmm
really bad, and then their level 3s are like, oh cool, game over, I guess. Like
Yeah, yeah.
instantly.
Like Renekton basically just gets like a more OP version of like Gangplank's level up
Yeah,
ability. Like that's
like
crazy.
deal 3 to
That's wild.
everything.
Yeah, and
I'm
have
surprised.
like +2/2 plus overwhelm to your champion. But yeah, we're slowly watching the end of the beginning of the end, I guess. Yeah, the
Yeah,
thermo's out, but it doesn't matter because the
yeah.
ascended deck's already there.
And really, the best ascendant to have is Xerath, who's just gonna keep shooting
hmm
things pretty much every turn. Well, it is every turn. And there's that 5-man lane. I believe it just gives enemies vulnerable. That's like the
Now,
whole
do
thing.
do we see the BM of Max? He passed. Max
I mean, what else
passed.
are you gonna do, right? Like you win in like 2 turns.
Oh my god, this is
Yep,
BM.
just
I was gonna say, do we see the BM of him just like playing all the cards in his hand and then winning? But I guess we're just gonna see the pass out until the end of the game. Yeah,
oh, that's right.
that's
That's the landmark. It's like when they play a follower, give vulnerable. When they play a unit, I believe is what it does. I'm not sure. I haven't
all units.
normally.
It's the landmark is all units are vulnerable, and
Ah,
round start you rally.
oh, gotcha. Cool. Yeah, I don't
So
really don't see these things because once it flips, I just hit the FF button.
yeah,
So
well, it's fun to see them. You know, you don't. These are cool cards. They don't. appear anywhere else except for Ascended Azir. They all have really cool art. So, just take your time and enjoy the trip. You're gonna see it, at least
Also,
get your money's worth of waiting through that long movie
the
of the
trip,
level up.
the mono streamer trip fees a lot like a Seth Rogen movie where it's just a bad trip and you don't want to be on it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I love
Now,
that Caitlyn emote so much. Spider Man should not the after my own heart with those emotes. She's so
yeah.
strong, and that is GG.
Oh, but he had the Ravenous. That was his chance.
That was
That was
that was the out.
Yeah, that was like that's how you do it. You got rid of the Victor or the Zerath. Like that's another turn. That's another turn you
Yep,
got on the on the
exactly. It's
on the
one more turn.
you have you have a shot. So you're telling me
Exactly.
there's a chance.
There is a card in the Emperor's deck that just makes you a level 3 Nasus and Renekton, which I think is really
Yeah.
funny.
hmm
Um, so yeah, maybe we could have seen that if they let it run longer, you know.
That was the chance to see it all happen on the stream because I don't think we'll ever see another Mono Shurima level up that's not also just an immediate FF, unless the game is within like decimate or get excited range,
Yeah,
like
pretty much.
we have seen. But
All right, so this
final
is
final matchup.
definitely a better matchup for the Caitlyn Ezreal Tri-Beam deck. Uh, a lot of the cards here, Bandle City, get low HP, units. We're getting a lot of value out of things like flash bombs and the spells that we're running. That landmark destruction, it comes in so handy here. So yeah, this is
hmm
going to be a really interesting. This is definitely not to be a rude caster and show bias. I think this will be a more interesting match to watch because it's less one card swingy.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be curious. Wow, Max got the trick
Ooh,
getting rid of his scorched earth. I
interesting.
This might just be my incensed hatred for Bandletree, but I would have kept the scorched earth. I would not have been waiting for it to show up and then having to also worry about the
JPEG is
Bandle
not
tree.
playing a Bandle Tree deck, so JPEG got rid of it. Okay, I see what you're saying now. I gotcha. JDG Spider Mansion got rid of it. Got rid of theirs,
Oh,
and
oh,
a
oh.
big flex from Spider Mansion. Oh my lord! And we've got a score update here. Looks like Zach 2-1's Yoda. That means that this match is the deciding match
Wow.
between these teams here. So this is the pressure is on. We are 1-1 in both this like the actual team matches and in this game.
Yeah. I mean, that's gonna be a a big, big
Yeah.
result here. And at least it's not, Spider Mansion and Max are waiting to see who's going to win their, Mono Shurima game.
Yeah,
Because that would
exactly.
have been bad to like, be in the position where like, oh, it's 1-1 and like the overall team versus team is 1-1. Like this is an important match. D- Definitely probably a better mental state for Spider Mansion to not have to worry about, this is just a Mono Shurima deck that I have to eventually beat before
Yeah, you're
like
not on that
next
timer.
turn. Yeah.
And
So
I think that is at least if you are on a timer, it's a 10 turn timer, so it's not as bad. Um, but
yeah.
but yeah, I mean, here we're seeing that like the real value of the Caitlyn Ezreal Triumph deck, even if it is burn in disguise, it just has there's a lot of units in there that are able to just
Mhm.
come down and block well, or come down trade well, come
Yeah.
down hit well.
Generate more
Um,
burn.
yeah, exactly. Very good. Oh, but
There's the
there's the
Bandle tree.
Bandle tree, and there's no Scorched Earth, and the Aloof Travelers. Oh no, but it's
Oh, the mini morph. The
protected.
mini
The
morph saved
mini
it.
morph.
Mini morph
Oh
doing its
my
job.
god.
Doing its
Literally.
job.
I mean,
But
yeah, in
yeah,
this
I think you
matchup, it's
just
pretty
drop
much
Bandle tree
useless.
here, don't you?
Yeah, for sure. I think so. I mean, there could be a Scorched Earth in there that you're thinking about.
What are you? What is this for?
Of course, just get rid of the Ezreal. I think is potentially
Oh,
the
I thought that
idea.
was Spider Mansion playing the Scorched. I was like, why are you, why are you Scorched Earthing your own Ezreal? I
Why are
was
you? Yeah, we're gonna
so
stun
confused
your
for a
own
second.
aloof.
Yeah, no, but no, I think that's definitely an interesting position to be in. Spider Mansion, looking for something to keep up the momentum or to gain it back at least. And then Max got the tracks definitely in a really good place having this Bandle tree.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even if you play it now and it gets blown up, it saves you a potential winning Bandle tree situation where they're only running. Oh, there's a second one. Okay, so I definitely think we see one of them come down now. I don't think there's a reason not to play it. Or go Gnar. Gnar's another good card too, and with the Gnar champ spell in hand, that Wallop, which is why does Bandle have Wallop? Just insanely good card.
It's literally Steel Tempest, but better.
Yeah, literally. It probably if Yasuo Steel Tempest dealt 1 damage, he'd probably be a viable champion. Good swing with the quick attack here, and we're gonna get a pokey stick out of it. Gnar is so good. Like, I'm glad that he's balanced out a little bit now that they reduced the stats on him, but
Yeah.
he's
Yeah,
still
Quick
really
Attack
good.
Overwhelm, kind of a busted combo.
Yeah,
Kind of the
especially when
best
it was
2 kind of the best 2 keywords in the game.
yep. All you're missing is Challenger, and you have like the best unit ever. So
Yeah, or well, you don't need Elusive if you have Overwhelm, but, like,
that's true.
yeah, Challenger is the only thing
Yeah,
it's
give
missing
them
is
both.
the
Give them both.
ultimate sweeper. Challenger is the only thing it's missing.
There we have a give it all. Now is that is that an actual give it all or is
Um,
that
I think that's Give It All. I think that
okay?
is
That
the all
is
units have all power and keywords. Pretty good.
I hope
You have
that that's
Drop Baron, you have
yeah,
5 Barons.
that's where my brain is going, and I'm really hoping that that's where
5
Spider
Barons?
Mansions is
That'd be
going
pretty
too.
cool. That'd be
You
pretty
know,
cool.
it's to get a bunch of overwhelming 8/8s and an elusive overwhelming 8/8. Like that sounds like a really
Ooh.
funny way to win a game. But
Ooh. Be nice. Be cool. It's gonna take a long time.
that's fine. I'm getting excited.
Where are
So
they
there's the
at? They're
first
at
manage rate. I mean, this is gonna
5.
get blown up instantly. Yeah, the
Yeah.
score short's definitely gonna come out.
But that's why there's a second one.
Exactly. No, that is the correct play there is to draw it out now, right? When your opponent, they're only running 2. You draw it out now. You have a way higher probability when you go to those later turns and your bandle tree's ready to go that they're not going to have that Scorched Earth to save themselves in that situation.
Especially when well, you don't know this if you're Max, but especially when Spider Mansion is potentially looking for a
Yeah.
Farron give it all elusive play.
Yeah, really crazy win con.
Yeah. Well, they don't even need the Ezreal, I think. I think they just go for the give it all next turn and then
Double decimate. Yeah, that's
yeah.
just really, really strong here. And yeah, I respect the pass there. The wallop is good. I wonder if you kill Poppy now or you kill Narn. You got to kill one of them.
This is a lot of damage. I
I
think you
think
kill Gnar.
yeah, I think you flock the Gnar.
Yeah. This is yeah, you flock the Gnar, but this is still going to be a lot of damage.
Yeah, this is
It's gonna be
definitely a big swing.
it's gonna be what? 2, 4, 6 plus 10 damage coming through with only 1 blocker if you're Spider Mansion. Ooh. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
that's a lot.
7 damage, so well, 5 now.
Okay, good mystic shot. Good, I respect the mystic shot there.
Yeah, no, yeah, you
Definitely do.
conserving the health pool, the only thing that matters in this game.
Literally, especially in this matchup where you're getting swarmed down every turn.
But now Spider Mansion doesn't have enough for the Ezreal into give it all.
No, they do not. So I wonder what the go-to play is here because there's no way to guarantee that the 3/1 spider is blocking the Farron, which is probably what you want. And there's the Yordle's Arms draw from Max, which means Max pretty much has 2 win cons in hand right now. That's a dead Ezreal. A very dead
Now,
Ezreal.
I was about to say this is ooh.
Ooh, okay, we're in a 6 drop out of this.
I was gonna say I think this is like the you. Oh wow, that could
Oh,
not have been
that's
better.
so
That could not have been
good.
better.
So now we get to
Uh,
draw the Yaya out. I don't know if you still swing into it. I don't think you do, right? You just kind of go like, okay, cool, Yaya, I guess. Um, yeah, for sure. You just kind of go, okay, Max is gonna cast Yordles and Arms, and we have an 8/7 and a 7/6 with Overwhelm, which means that you don't even need to give it all at that point. You're just gonna swing with the decimates
look,
after
that
out of Yordles and Arms.
that tri-beam was insane. I was gonna say I think you just open a swing with the Farron and then decimate Mystic Shot this turn, or
Yeah.
decimate turn swap or decimate Mystic Shot. This is interesting. Good thing that they have the Financier out. They have another blocker.
And True Shot Barrage feels kind of nice here, especially without, we don't know what's in that hand. And if there is,
What?
all right. No, that makes sense. I like that. I like that a lot.
Is
It's
that
going to
not
give,
this round? Is that not this round?
no, I think it's permanent.
If it's permanent, that's amazing.
Let's
And
find
that's
out.
definitely the right play to get rid of the elusive.
Give
But
it
this
all.
is This is a bad place to be for
Yep,
Max.
it's a permanent thing. They all get all the keywords. They all get the highest health and HP. So
Yordle
yeah,
Arms is not
pretty.
gonna save you here.
Nope. Yeah, the only thing that's gonna save you here is the bandle tree. I think you saved the Euros and Arms. Gonna go for it now. I mean, it does have to get blocked, right? You like, there's no way that Spider Mansion
Yeah.
isn't blocking at least one of these.
Mm-hmm.
So it definitely feels like I like that swing there, but man, does it just set Max up into a bad position? This seems like it could be like just game
No,
here with.
I think this is the best answer for Max because it draws out both blockers at best,
Oh, you're
one
right.
blocker at worst. But now they have the Ravenous Flock to clear
Oh, you're
Pharaoh's
right.
Financier. But
And we're
it
only
doesn't matter. It
one.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because there's 2 Decimates and Mystic Shot in hand.
Oh, yep, and the True Shot Barrage and True Shot Barrage for next turn if we really have to get down to it.
There's double
Yeah,
Decimate. It doesn't
yeah,
matter.
yeah. That's it. That is it.
Wow.
Man, what a game! Give it all for the win. Holy,
It
wow!
manifest, kind of good.
Kind of a good
Kind of.
mechanic. I
I
like
don't know. Don't know if I'll say good, but
I like the manifest cards like Financier, right? Where there's like a very clear restriction on the pool of
yeah.
cards you're gonna get. It
Mhm.
creates situations like that where like your opponent knows you're getting something big out of that, so they can at least have a bit more information than say just like manifest a card,
Yeah.
manifest an
A
epic
card.
from the game to like.
Yeah. Like from the wide pool of game-ending cards, like give it.
Yeah, or like, ruination off a telescope. You never know.
It's that is a thing, but no. But enough of complaining about
Yeah,
manifesting. That was an insane
great game. No,
series
actually
from both
crazy.
players. Like Spider Mansion played insanely well, made all the right decisions at all the right times, came out on top. They had one bad game, not even bad. They had one game against Zerath this year.
Yeah,
They had one game where they were on a clock and they didn't draw the right cards, so that's not even their
what is
fault
gonna
that they
happen?
lost that. But still, either way, they played well, very well every single game. They made every single choice that was correct, no matter whether they lost to time in Zerath's ear. But then Max got the tricks on the flip side, made a couple mistakes, but still played insanely well. He forced it to 3 games after going down one and a relatively closer than I would like for a Zerath's ear game.
Yeah.
And then finally in the last one, still forcing out, a huge card to force the win for Mansion. Like if there was no give it all, that probably was Max's game.
Yeah, for sure. And that also just goes to show that like the skill of the players that are there, the caliber there. Because
Mhm.
manifesting, right? Like Give It All is pretty much considered a pretty bad card. You're not really gonna. Most players
Not worth
aren't
the
gonna
next spot.
take it. Exactly. Most players aren't gonna take it off of that. But it takes a certain caliber of player to recognize like, this is the game, this matchup here with this
Mhm.
deck I'm playing is the perfect situation where this Give It All actually has a lot of value
Mhm.
for me as a player. And it's
Yeah.
just thinking like, 5, 6 turns ahead, like this is a win con that I can work
Mhm.
towards that can beat out that Bandle
E-
swarm.
Exactly. Recognizing you have your fair on, recognizing that give it all makes all of your 2 cost useless cards into Farons, and then going from
Yeah.
there. That's a huge a potential attack you have right there. That is literally a game-winning card, and you still have the opportunity to win without it. But that's a great safety net to have for if you get down to the wire like they did in the last game. Spider Mansion or Max, it was still anyone's game if it wasn't you know for the give it all. Like there was still the opportunity for Max to try and take it back with some of the cards he was drawing, but between the decimates, between the give it all, it was very, very well played by Spider Mansion. So
Yeah,
congratulations on him
absolutely.
or on Spider Mansion, excuse me, for taking the win and putting their team up. That was the deciding game for
Yeah.
the series. That
That
was
was the game.
that was that was the game. It was 1-1 for the team series. It was 1-1 for Max and Mansion came out. They pulled it out. That was an insane series to watch and cast, and it's insanely successful for them because that was a very very much so needed game. It wasn't like there was
Oh yeah.
already 2 wins for them.
I just gotta give it up to both players, right? Because
Mhm.
both players played incredibly well. I don't know if they knew the circumstances of it, right? You're mid match, you're probably not checking the updates from your team. You don't want to get
Mhm.
that extra pressure on you because that can mess with your mindset. But even then, like it's always in the back of your mind, like this game could be the game. Like
Mhm.
this is important for I have other people like counting on me to win. Both players handled that pressure very well and played some really good Runeterra.
Yeah, any competitive match, you always know like this match actually means something. It's not just, oh, I'm climbing the ladder. If I lose this, it's just next game I'm going to gain the 20 LP back.
Yeah,
This is an important thing. It has implications throughout the rest of the season, and not letting that get to you, still making the correct decisions is super important. And Spider Mansions was able to do that throughout the whole game, and it paid off.
yeah, for sure. I'm gonna double check with the studio real quick. Uh, I believe that was the last match we're covering for the day. Okay. All right, cool.
Yep.
So I believe that's it for us.
Yeah. No, that is it. We covered two pretty intense matches. We had
Yeah,
a bit of technical difficulty in the beginning, but we made up for it with an absolutely insane series between Max Got the Tracks and Spider Mansions. Spider
really
Mansions
good.
eventually taking it away. But that will be it. That'll be the end of the coverage here for us today in week 2 of the Aegis Legends of Runeterra league. My name is Domcast. I've been joined by the absolutely amazing Absolution. So thank you all for joining in. Hopefully you liked the decks. Hopefully it gave you a couple ideas to grind in solo queue. But like I said, that is it for us here. Anything you want to say before we send it off?
Yeah, absolutely. My audience, my crowd, they know what's coming next. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Make sure you hit that follow button here. Okay, follow Aegis Esports. They're coming out with banger Runeterra tournaments, great Runeterra content, and content for other Riot games as well. I know a bunch of you are degenerate League players like myself. So without further ado,
Back
have
here.
yourselves a damn good one.